or listen now wherever you get your podcasts. At bbcworldservice.com, The Real Story with Sean Lay.
It's 28 years since the first COP meeting to tackle global warming, and countries still haven't agreed to phase out fossil fuels. They're trying again in Dubai. But in this, the hottest year ever recorded, is it time to accept that the COP process has failed?
This is the BBC World Service, the world's radio station.
Hello and welcome to the History Hour with me, Max Pearson. This week we delve into the origin stories behind some of the world's most successful computer games, including 1993's Doom.
The game that they were demonstrating, I just took it out and put mine in and rebooted the computer. And the marketing person comes over and is like, "What are you doing?" I said, "Look at my game." And they saw it and they're like, "Wow, that actually looks really good."
And a phenomenally successful FIFA football game.
It sold over 1 million copies the first month. It's never heard of. Back then, if a game is sold for over 100,000, that's a big sale already.
Also, a very personal view of the 1967 military coup in Greece, the director of the groundbreaking French film La Haine, and the strange story behind the world's largest collection of human brains.
It was quite a sight, all these brains just standing there in the middle of the floor. And I was thinking, okay, I've never seen anything like this before.
First, today's world news.
Hello, I'm Emily Thomas with the BBC News. India's Supreme Court has ruled that the government's controversial decision 4 years ago to revoke the special status of Indian-administered Kashmir was valid. In a landmark judgment, the court said the partial autonomy given to the region following Indian independence had been temporary. Yogita Lemoye reports.
In August 2019, the government had removed the relative autonomy granted to Indian-administered Kashmir. Several petitioners challenged these actions, saying they violated democratic processes and the constitution. Now, India's top court has ruled in favour of the government. Ahead of the verdict, security was tightened in the region, which has been ridden by conflict for more than 30 years. This comes against the backdrop of multiple allegations of a crackdown on democratic freedoms in the region since it came under the control of the national government run by the Hindu nationalist Bharatiya Janata Party.
Israeli forces are continuing to bombard areas in the city of Khan Yunis in southern Gaza. The Hamas-run health ministry says that dozens of people have been killed, not just in Khan Yunis, but across Gaza in the past 24 hours. The BBC's Anna Foster is in southern Israel on the Gaza border.
Some really large plumes of smoke from strikes and artillery fire visible across Gaza this morning. We know that a lot of that fighting is focused further down the strip now as well, on the southern city of Khan Yunis, where Israeli military leaders believe that some of the senior members of Hamas are still hiding out, and they are moving more closely into that city of Khan Yunis. We've also heard from the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu overnight, saying that some members of Hamas are now starting to surrender.
Reports from Syria say that 2 Hezbollah fighters and 2 Syrians working with the Lebanese movement have been killed by Israeli strikes near Damascus. Hezbollah has confirmed that 2 of its fighters were killed overnight. According to Hezbollah, 100 of its fighters have been killed so far in near daily exchanges of fire with Israeli forces since the war between Israel and Hamas erupted. The UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has called for an agreement to phase out fossil fuels at the climate summit in Dubai. He urged negotiators to show maximum ambition and flexibility to achieve this.
A central aspect, in my opinion, of the success of the COP would be for the COP to reach a consensus on the need to phase out fossil fuels in line with a time framework that is in line with the 1.5 degree limit. That doesn't mean that all countries must phase out fossil fuels at the same time.
Major oil producers at the talks, like Saudi Arabia, have rejected proposals to phase out fossil fuels. BBC News. China has defended the actions of its ships in the South China Sea following criticism from the Philippines, which said Chinese vessels had acted aggressively towards its own. The Philippines has summoned the Chinese ambassador after accusing China of using water cannon against Filipino boats on supply missions to Marines and fishing crews located in areas claimed by both countries. The Sudanese army has denied agreeing to a ceasefire and face-to-face talks with its rival, the Rapid Support Forces, which it's been fighting a bitter civil war with since April. On Sunday, a statement from the regional bloc of East African countries, IGAD, said a breakthrough had been made. Poland's Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki will present his proposed cabinet to Parliament for a vote of confidence shortly. His right-wing party lost its majority in elections in October, and he's expected to lose the vote, opening the way for a pro-European Union coalition led by Donald Tusk to form a government. From Warsaw, here's Sarah Rainsford.
Cinemas here in Warsaw, in Poland's capital, are planning to take the parliamentary proceedings from here to the big screen. And so people have been snapping up tickets for that, in fact, to watch the politics with popcorn today. It's a big event. You know, this is 2 months almost since the elections here, which had a record turnout, really voters extremely engaged with that process. And ever since, they've been very much focused on what happens next. And this is the big moment in terms of actually choosing a government.
An outspoken doctor who exposed the AIDS crisis spreading in rural China in the 1990s has died after living in exile in the US. Gao Yaoji was a gynecologist working in China's central Henan province when she discovered that thousands were contracting HIV and AIDS from infected blood donations. Poor farmers sometimes sold their blood as a way of making money, and needles were reused.
Hello, this is the History Hour with Max Pearson, pulling together this week's Witness History Voices on the BBC World Service, bringing the past to life. Coming up, the strange story behind the world's largest collection of human brains. The young George Papandreou caught up in the 1967 military coup in Greece, and La Haine, the 1990s film which addressed head-on race and policing in France. But we're going to begin by looking at computer games. This is now a phenomenon worthy of historical study, if only because it's an industry worth billions of dollars a year. Let's take a look at the origin stories behind a couple of big titles. In the early 1990s, the release of one particular offering captivated computer gamers around the world. It was called Doom. It was science fiction-based, fast-paced, and gloried in virtual violence. But Doom was also released at a time when violence in video games was causing concern. It was even a topic of discussion at government level. Kurt Brooks has been speaking to John Romero, one of the game's developers, and he remembers the release of what went on to become one of the most influential video games ever made.
Hello?
Hi, John. It's
Hey.
Kurt. How are you?
How you doing? We were getting phone calls in the office asking where it's at, and we're like, how'd they find our phone number? But how do they know that we're almost about to ship the game?
On the 10th of December 1993, Doom was released on Microsoft's MS-DOS operating system. Developed by id Software, Doom saw players take control of an unnamed soldier stationed on a futuristic military base on Mars. After an experiment goes wrong, a portal to the underworld is opened, and demonic entities escape. The player must then dispatch the demons before they can reach and take over the Earth. Doom is known by gamers around the world for its rocking soundtrack, ferocious gameplay, and over-the-top gore. Unsurprisingly for someone whose name is synonymous with gaming, John had a keen interest in them whilst growing up in Tucson, Arizona and Rocklin, California.
I lived in Northern California, which is right next to where Atari is, and our area was a target market for all new games, so every week would be dozens of new games being pushed through the arcade.
How did you make that leap from playing arcade games to then developing games yourself?
I had just finished 6th grade, so I was 11. My friend and my brother said, we found a place where we can play games for no money. And I'm like, oh my God, let's go. And we go inside, and it's like a college lab. And after playing for a little while, I asked him, well, what are they doing? They're not playing games. And he said, well, they're programming. They're making stuff like they could make these games. And then I just said, I want to do that too. Eventually, after asking about 10 times, they gave me a book, which gave me the entire basic language. And that was in the summer of '79. So that was the start of it.
With this newfound knowledge and an Apple II computer, John would embark on making the first game of what would be his long career.
The first game that I made at home on the Apple II was a copy of Crazy Climber, and that was just the beginning of my learning everything.
Soon, John would start to sell his games to publishers, but his big break would come thanks to him being very cheeky at a trade show in 1987.
The first place I saw, everybody's playing my game because it was a place I had sold my game to. And then I went to the Origin Systems booth, which is one of my favorite companies of all time. And I just took out their disc, the game that they were demonstrating. I just took it out and put mine in and rebooted their computer. And the marketing person comes over and is like, "What are you doing?" And I said, look at my game. And they saw it and they're like, "Wow, that actually looks really good."
John would go on to form several of his own game development startups and work for various other companies. But in 1991, he and other game makers John Carmack, Tom Hall, and artist Adrian Carmack would found the company that would go on to develop Doom, id Software. But Doom was far from their first game.
We made 13 games in 1991. And then in 1992, we finally had done enough that we could make a game that did not have a deadline on it, and that was Wolfenstein 3D. So we spent 4 months, came up with the idea for Wolfenstein, and shipped Wolfenstein 4 months.
How do you make a game in 4 months?
There's no cell phones. We were not online. The phone was a hard-line phone that never rang, so there was no reason to do anything but listen to metal and code.
After Wolfenstein and its sequel, Spear of Destiny, they would turn their attention to Doom. But where did the idea for this new game come from?
We used to play Dungeons & Dragons on the weekends, and in 1991, I unbelievably destroyed the whole world. The way that world ended was by demons just flooding the whole world and taking over. We thought, what if we took that idea, what's the player doing? Well, you happen to destroy demons because they're going to take over the universe, I guess. And then we start thinking about it some more, and we're like, yeah, but instead of being medieval, what if it's sci-fi?
And John says he and his team then set out to make their most ambitious title yet.
We decided we're going to make the best game that we can even imagine, so we wanted to throw everything into it. We wanted to have a game that already had a really cool premise to it. We needed to have multiplayer. We're going to have the best looking game, and we wanted to have a game design that moved games forward. All of the stuff in a game that we made in 11 months.
During Doom's development, more and more mature titles aimed at an older audience were starting to gain traction both in the arcades and at home. But because video games were viewed as a children's medium at the time, this caused a panic amongst parents and was the catalyst for hearings in the United States Senate.
Violence and violent images permeate more and more aspects of our lives, and I think it's time to draw the line. I know that one place parents want us to draw the line is with violence in video games. The fact is that a new generation of video games crosses that line, containing the most horrible depictions of graphic violence and sex, including particularly violence against women. Like the Grinch who stole Christmas, these violent video games threaten to rob this particular holiday season of a spirit of goodwill.
The congressional hearings happened the day before Doom was released. People were not going, "You've made the worst game." It's like, you're killing demons. You're not a bad guy. You're good.
And on that day, the response was massive.
The world kind of knew Doom was coming. Like, we were getting phone calls in the office asking where it's at, and we're like, how'd they find our phone number? But how do they know that we're almost about to ship the game? So it was amazing after releasing the game, because it blew up the server, 2 times. Basically, all video game magazines talked about Doom every issue for the whole year. This was the first time that we got approached all the time about doing interviews and articles and all this stuff. So it was just nuts, the amount of incoming everything, the amount of books that were coming out that we had to approve, and all the licensing, all the ports, making that game run on everything. John and I both wanted some cool cars, so we both got Ferrari Testarossas, and we would just drive them to work like they're just a car,
But like many overnight successes, it took many years of hard work to get to that point.
There was 13 years before that. For me, Doom was my 90th game, so we all worked a long time to get good enough to make that game.
John's office is a treasure trove of video game memorabilia, of which he holds one of the biggest private collections in the world. Not wanting to miss the opportunity of a lifetime, I asked John to show me around.
Well, let's see, on my shelves I have a ton of stuff, lots of Doom stuff. In this case here, I have an original Doom registered version, which is when we put it out and people bought it through the mail order, this is the box that got sent through the mail, and it's signed by Adrian Carmack. He's an artist on the game.
Since leaving id Software in the mid-90s, John has set up numerous companies to develop and release video games. Well, 30 years on, how does John look back on those days when he developed one of the most famous games in the world?
It's great to look back at the 11 months that we worked on the game. I mean, the team for Doom was 5 people. And then Tom Hall, when he left us, we hired 2 people to help out. So when the game shipped, it had 6 people working on it. That's still a crazy small team. But it was really fun. I mean, it was just a lot of really positive, fun activity making the game, and continues to just still be crazy good. You know, there's still a lot of Doom activity, and people love it.
John Romero with Kurt Brooks in that Made in Manchester production for the BBC World Service. At about the same time as Doom was released in the United States, EA Sports introduced the world to the first iteration of FIFA International Soccer. The football video game sold 1 million copies in its first month and went on to become a cultural phenomenon. The lead developer on the FIFA project has been telling Vicky Farncombe how his devotion to the task landed him in hospital.
It just shows how sucked into this game thing, right? It almost seemed to be a dream, the things I did.
It's May 1993 in the Canada office of EA Sports, the computer game developer.
I drew the field with a just white line, the net area just 2 empty holes, and the ball is a white dot. The player is a stick.
Senior engineer Jan Tan is testing out a football game he's been working on.
I was doing that little demo with my, just a colleague sitting around me, the cubicle. So let's have a game, see how you feel.
Even though the design is basic, the game's pretty good, and word spreads around the office.
And the other colleagues, they're standing around cheering, and some even standing on the table, wow, it's almost like a real game. I said, oh wow, that's quite amazing.
That same day, the senior vice president from EA Sports is over in Vancouver on a visit from the US office. Walking through the corridors, he hears the whooping coming from Jan's cubicle. Up until now, there's not been that much interest in Jan's soccer game from HQ. They've been more concerned with developing games for the US market, like American football. But on hearing the reaction of the coders to Jan's prototype, the senior VP knows he has a hit on his hands.
And he told the producer, the managers, we have to ship this game for Christmas season, right?
Realising his tight deadline is about to get even tighter, Jan's heart sinks. He'd never even wanted to be involved in this product.
I just finished another sports game called 4D Tennis. I was a little bit burned out.
But knowing how much Jan loves football, the producer Bruce had convinced him he was the man for the job.
Because I'm an amateur soccer player myself. I play soccer in the university days. I'm decent. My producer, and he knows me, he said, no, you have to do it. He said, you're the best person to do this. I said, okay, then why don't you get all the games you can find in the stores so I can play them and give you kind of review and see how they are, how I'm going to do it differently.
Jan checks out the competition and decides he wants his game to have an isometric view, like watching football on TV. And he wants his players to move like real footballers.
Players should run and kick the ball and chase the ball, kick the ball, instead of the ball being tied to their shoes, like in all the other games.
It's also important for Jan that the players without the ball keep their positioning.
The most difficult task is to make your teammates position where they're supposed to. You watch a professional player play, they know exactly where to go. They don't have the ball, but they watch which team has the ball, who has the ball, where the ball is, and they know exactly where to go. And that's key.
Tackling these tricky algorithms is painstaking work. By the time of that senior VP visit in May, Jan has only cracked half his problems, and the game needs to be ready by autumn. He has a lot to do.
AI, animation, camera, physics, you just name it.
So if I could put a camera on you back in 1993, what would I have seen in the office?
You see the lonely engineer working late at night on the computer. I was a workaholic.
The long hours start to have a detrimental effect on Jan's family life.
I remember one night, this was on the Sunday night, 12 o'clock, I had an idea all of a sudden. I was already home. I got an idea because I didn't have a computer at home. And I said, I want to try this out because I have a problem. If I have an idea in my head, I have to do it, try it. Otherwise, I just can't sleep. So I quickly drove to the office, which is like 1.5 an hour away by car. So I started working on it, testing this idea. Takes a long time, hours, right? Tweaking back and forth. And all of a sudden, Bruce came in. And I said, hey, is Jen still here? I said, yeah, this idea, I want to try it. And he sat down beside me and started chatting. And then phone rang. Late at night, I said, who would have called? So he picked up my phone. And on the other hand, it was my son. I think my son was 8 or 9 years old. And he said, could you let my dad come home, please? When I heard that, I was really heartbroken, right? This is, it brought me to tears almost.
The workload starts to affect Jan's health too. One day in the office, he struggles to breathe.
Luckily, the hospital was just a block away from our campus. And there's a lot of people in the emergency room. And the nurse said, what's wrong with you? And I explained the situation. And she said, don't move. He quickly rushed to the emergency ER room. The doctor pushed out the stretcher. They wheeled me in, and they walled it up my whole body. So for half an hour, they say, your heart seems to be fine. You have a severe anxiety attack. You're just exhausted. And the doctor ordered me not to work for 2 weeks.
While Jan is killing himself to get the coding finished, higher up the chain at EA Sports, a deal is being struck with the International Federation of Association Football, FIFA, to add their name to the product.
FIFA is the best name, right? The highest name in soccer, worldwide in football. Of course, you would want to get a license, right? Because exposure is huge.
But the deal to use real players' names and likenesses isn't completed in time. So Jan and his team need to come up with some fake names for their virtual footballers.
So I remember sending an email to all my colleagues in the office saying, okay, you want to be part of the FIFA game? Just pick a team, give me your name, whatever, a fake name, a real name, doesn't matter. And of course, I was a little bit selfish.
Jan, the former college footballer, sees a chance to realise one of his boyhood dreams. He names the Brazilian number 10 the best player in the best team.
Jian Tian. And then my producer said, that's too Asian. The Brazilians don't have a name like that. Let me tweak a little bit. His parents are from Italy, right? So he said, how about you add O to it? Gianno Tiano. I said, okay, that works. So that's how it goes. It comes along. And then I gave myself, of course, being a little bit selfish, gave me all the best attributes. The player has attributes, how fast, physical strength, skill level. That's why people, when you pick me, almost you're guaranteed to win.
The names are set, the final flourishes have been added. Jan could tweak all day, but the game needs to hit the shelves in time for Christmas. EA Sports plough big money into the launch. There's a party at Wembley Stadium and expensive TV adverts in the UK and US.
I have this dream. It's about playing for my country.
FIFA International Soccer from EA Sports.
When the first set of sales figures come in, no one can believe what they're hearing.
It sold over 1 million copies the first month. It's never heard of, right? Back then, if a game is sold for like 100,000, over 100,000, that's big sale already. I said, wow, we did something.
Jan receives the Outstanding Employee Award, the highest honour at EA Sports. He carries on working on new iterations of the FIFA game for a few more years before deciding to hand the joystick on to other developers. The FIFA series becomes one of the most successful sports games franchises in history. The EA Sports FIFA partnership continues for nearly 30 years before breaking down over a reported disagreement over the cost of the license.
The computer coder Jan Tian was talking to Vicky Farncombe. So let's explore more around why computer games are important and worthy of taking their place in a history programme. Keza MacDonald is the video games editor at The Guardian newspaper and joins us now. So Doom and FIFA, we've heard about a couple of them, but they're relatively sophisticated. Going back in time, which games first made people latch on to computer gaming as a worthwhile pursuit?
The first game that was really a hit anywhere in the world was really Pong in 1972, which, of course, is by these days' standards an incredibly primitive game. It's 2 paddles, it's a ball. But something that speaks a lot to why Pong was so influential is that it's still really fun today. Like, if you get an original Pong machine and you start playing it today and you've got a friend with the other paddle in their hand, that game can go on for half an hour or an hour. It can still suck you right in. But Pong was transformational. It was not only, at the time, the most successful arcade game anywhere. It started off in the US and then made its way all the way around the world. But it was also one of the first games to ever make it into people's homes, when home Pong machines started proliferating everywhere in the 70s.
And from then, we got on to things that could be used on a much smaller screen.
Yes, I would say that although Pong was incredibly successful, it didn't really show, I think. Like, when you play Pong now, I don't see much of the video games that I play now in Pong. But I do see a lot of why I love video games now in Super Mario Brothers, which was Nintendo and Shigeru Miyamoto's kind of breakout hit. And that game, it's got imagination, it's got color, it's got creativity, it's got replayability. It's a game that you can still play now and enjoy.
And the early games, Tetris, which was working out how to get shapes to fall in, which is your brain working.
For sure, I think all video games, even from Asteroids and Space Invaders, do engage your brain. You know, they're interfaces that need you to concentrate quite hard. It is very appealing to people. It's like a short 5-minute escape. Tetris particularly was a huge hit with men, women, older people, younger people. It's the game that made the Game Boy into a bestseller in the late 1980s.
When did gaming, though, become something a bit more visceral and focused on what you might call the baser instincts of sex and violence, which is prevalent in many of the games which are available today?
I think a lot of people would say that the early to mid-90s was when that shift started happening. That was when games actually started being marketed to boys, to teenage boys. Before that, games were kind of ageless and genderless almost, but there was a point in the mid to late 90s where the marketing suddenly started taking on a very sexualized tone. Think of Tomb Raider and Lara Croft, for instance. I think you look at Doom today and you don't think that looks particularly shocking, but of course in the 90s, that was probably the most shocking game that you could find. And then moving on to Mortal Kombat, which was a very violent kind of arcade-style fighting game. There was a lot of sort of pushing boundaries. Carmageddon was another game that caused a lot of controversy in the 90s, which was a game about running over pedestrians. There was a lot of that kind of edginess and boundary pushing going on in the late 90s and right into the early 2000s.
And we've now emerged into an age in which skills at computer gaming, which is supposed to be, after all, just play, are regarded as life skills in the real world.
That's very true. I mean, I think, honestly, gamification has crept into everything now, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. But when you look at the way that we design phone interfaces and the way that we design reward apps for shops, all these things take some cues from video games, from sort of interfaces that are fun to interact with. And if you are now the thing is pretty much everybody under 40 now plays video games to some extent, and I think something like 98% of children play games in some form or another now. So game skills have become life skills, and for younger people especially, I think teens playing Fortnite, video games have become a social place. They're somewhere where they hang out with their friends. Rather than a thing that you play, video games have become a place that you go.
That's Keza MacDonald, video games editor at The Guardian. And incidentally, here at the Witness History team, we've made items about the origins of Tetris and Pong and Nintendo with the people involved. To find them, go online and search for bbcworldservice.com/Witness History. We'll be switching from virtual history back to events from the real world when the History Hour returns in just a moment.
This is the BBC World Service, continuing the search to uncover the myth surrounding County Mayo's football team.
So far, I've heard hearsay about the curse, but I haven't got much closer to answering the key question. Is the curse real?
Some of the things that have happened to Mayo teams in All-Ireland finals, some have bordered on the bizarre.
Surely someone in the crowd that day must remember a priest, a curse, a funeral even.
In the valleys, they've come to see the game of the year.
Dr. Mick Loftus is someone many people overlooked when it came to the curse. He played for years in the first team.
He has made light of the whole thing. He went, it's all hullabaloo. But then he said, of course, there was a whole lot of excitement, and just because I didn't see a funeral cortege doesn't mean that there wasn't one.
Finally, it feels like the first bit of evidence that maybe there could be some truth to the curse.
The Curse of County Mayo at bbcworldservice.com.
Coming up in part 2 of the History Hour, the origins of the world's largest collection of human brains, plus the Greek military coup in 1967.
As a young boy, I was saying, why aren't people resisting? Why aren't they going up into the mountains like guerrillas when we did this against the Nazis? You know, where is this movement? And nothing was going on.
And the hard-hitting French film La Haine.
Besides the three main actors, all the other guys in the movie are from the projects.
First, a news summary.
Hello, I'm Emily Thomas with the BBC News. The Indian Supreme Court has ruled that the government's decision to revoke the special status of Indian-administered Kashmir was valid. The judges said the partial autonomy given to the region following Indian independence had been temporary. The UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has called for an agreement at the climate summit in Dubai that phases out fossil fuels. He urged negotiators to show maximum ambition and flexibility on the eve of the scheduled end of the gathering. China has defended the actions of its ships in the South China Sea. Earlier, the Philippines summoned the Chinese ambassador after accusing China of using water cannon against Filipino boats in 2 disputed areas. Israeli forces are continuing to bombard areas in the city of Khan Yunis in southern Gaza. The Hamas-run health ministry says that dozens of people have been killed, not just in Khan Yunis, but across Gaza in the past 24 hours. Reports from Syria say Israeli airstrikes have killed 2 Hezbollah fighters and 2 Syrians working with the Lebanese movement near Damascus. Hezbollah has confirmed that 2 of its fighters were killed overnight, but did not specify where. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky says he had a frank discussion with the Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban when they both attended the inauguration of Argentina's new leader. He said their brief exchange focused on European affairs. The Sudanese army has denied agreeing to a ceasefire with its rival, the Rapid Support Forces. The statement comes after an East African regional bloc said the 2 sides had agreed to start a political dialogue. A doctor who exposed the AIDS crisis spreading in rural China in the 1990s has died in the US. Gao Yaoji was a gynecologist working in Henan province when she discovered that thousands became ill with HIV and AIDS due to infected blood donations. That was the latest world news from the BBC.
Welcome back to part 2 of the History Hour with Max Pearson. Still to come, the Greek military coup of 1967 and La Haine, the 1990s French film.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Starr, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clemens, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Star Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Pram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour show is your best source into the property industry.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Best radio show. The best radio show. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
All around the world. In your car,
At work,
at home,
on your smartphone.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Body is your man. Bekutu, show them you got the cocoa set. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Harry Song, aka Mr. Songs. This is the Kingmaker Baba for the girls. We're here. This is Starr Radio. Don't go nowhere. UK, London. We they call them London for home. For here, we they call them London. And I sabi you know, just have fun and stay blessed.
Hi there, this is CJ Buckman, your life coach. And whenever I'm in London, I listen to Star Radio UK right here. But guess what? You can listen to wherever you are.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Around the world. In your car.
At work.
At home.
On your smartphone.
This is Star Radio UK. Are you ready to turn it up?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Your heart is aching. Smile even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile. Hey, this is Archie and you are listening to Star Radio UK and the Morning Show.
This is Star Radio. This is UK. Star Radio UK. This is Star Radio UK.
Welcome. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Enlighten your day with Star Radio. Star Radio. Radio for the people, by the people.
Welcome.
Love for you runs deep. All of you makes my heart beat. You make a doubt they fade. Jesus, and that's what makes you great. You hold the world in your hands, the hand that made me who I am. Same God now, yesterday, and forevermore. And that's what makes you great. You are God. You will never change. You remain the same to the end. To the end. You are God. One who took my pain, took away my shame. Lord, you reign. That's why forever call you great.
Okay, let me say massive good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth and those of you on other planets as well. We want to salute each and every one of you and say welcome to the Monday edition of the morning show. Today is the exactly the 11th day of the 12th month 2023. The time now 10:44 from the hearts of London. And it's Monday, the 12th of December. How many days more for the Christmas? Oh boy, oh boy. The 11th of December, my apologies.
All of you makes you mine.
That shows how tired we were or we have been over the weekend. But whatever it is, we are here once again this morning to bring you everything that you need to know, from archaeology to zoology, from Accra to Zanzibar, and it's making the headlines. As I do say all the time, why not we're going to see to it that we touch on it. So I want to welcome you, and I say welcome, welcome, welcome. But I'm saying good morning to my team this morning, Miss Olayomi, Koiki, my able producer, Mr. Francis Guy, HR Rich and Pali, and wherever you are this morning, I hope you're all doing very, 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 very well. Anthony Adeneji, massive good morning to you. Aziz, good morning. Shamsuddin, good morning. Rachel, good morning to you. My Bishop Adeshina, all the way in Lagos, Nigeria. I salute you. Pastor Momo, Pastor Emmanuel Chile, Felix, my brother, all the way in Scotland. I salute you this morning. You see, I told you that I was tired. And then let me say morning to Kojo D, Mr. Frank Davids, and all you wonderful people who join us each day when we bring you this program. To the money man himself, Mr. Dan Tabiri, CEO of GIL Accountancy Services, and money man, I salute you. I hope you are doing very, very well too. But let me sincerely apologize for the lack of a program last Friday. There wasn't any live program on Friday because we had to see to some things behind the scenes, you know. What makes you great? But wherever you are, I say welcome to the program, Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. From now till exactly 12:30 when we bring the program to a close. This is what we're going to be doing. I'm going to bring you the quote for the day, the weather forecast will follow suit, then the travel update. Then we'll move on from there to have a look at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe. It's another global trotting. At 11 o'clock, we have Mr. Olayomi Koiki who will be joining in to bring you all the updates from Nigeria. And then we'll move on from there to have a look at some of the other stories. At 12 o'clock, the lines are open for you to add your voice to the discussion. 12:30, the cases are brought down for the end of the program. So in that gist, that's what is going to be happening. And once again, I say welcome and enjoy the ride. I am the one and only. This is the morning show with Archie. Okay. Let's crack on. So the quote for the day says, Have you ever had an inspiring idea? But then went back to your daily routine and lost sight of it? The next time inspiration knocks, invite it in and write it down. So write the vision down that anyone who comes after you will be able to take it and run with it. Don't run away with it, run with it. Yeah, follow your course. So that's why we have the quote for the day, Starr Radio UK. Love for you. Well, this morning, let's see how the weather is going to be for us, because if you're in London, as a eastern part of England, it's quite a wonderful day this morning. Yesterday we had a bit of rain there and all that stuff, but it looks like this morning we're going to be having a good, or today we're going to be having a good time here in the south. East London to be specific. Now today will be dry and there will be a mixture of wintry sunny spells and a patchy area of cloud moving in at times. A calm day too. And this evening and the start of tonight we'll see skies clear through the early hours. Cloud will build in from the west and spells of heavy rain will move in towards dawn as well. But it's all coming away from Starr Radio UK. Top of the temperature is going to be 12 degrees. The lowest is going to be 6 degrees. UV level low, pollution low. Sunset is going to be exactly 15:51. And sunrise for tomorrow morning 07:56 hours. And that brings us to the end of the weather forecast. This is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Let's move on straight to the travel updates as well. So on your travel this morning, the Central Line, for those of you using the underground, has got minor delays. The other side, all the others are running a good service. DLR, London Tramlink, London Overground, good service there. Now let me take you straight to the major roads in London. On the major roads in London, A316, North Circular, A406 have all got serious delays. So if you can avoid it, do your best to do so. On the river bars as well, as you know, Woolwich Ferry has still got reduced service. The other side, all the others are running a good service there. Keep your eyes on the roads. Keep your eyes on the roads as you keep it navigated. I promise our bond. Moving on straight to the London cable car, and I can tell you assuredly, the London cable car we always have a good service there as well. So to the final segment of the travel update, that's the national rail. Well, these are the incidents there, or these are the situations there. Now, C2C has got minor delays, cross country minor delays, East Midlands Railway special service, Grand Central minor delays, Great Western Railway minor delays, London North Eastern Railway minor delays, Northern Rail minor delays, Scott Rail special service, Southwestern Railway severe delays, Southeastern minor delays, and Transport for Wales has got minor delays. The other side, all the others are running a very, very good service. But that's why I would say it once again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you, wherever you might be on planet Earth. Enjoy your commute for today, but you know what? Continue to keep those eyes on the road.
Hi guys, this is your friend Ruth from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business. The show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Welcome back to the program Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, bringing the time now exactly to 8 minutes to the top of the hour. And let's go global trotting. Yes, so what is happening from across the globe this morning? Well, when it comes to Nigeria, Salihu Lukman reveals why APC chose Tinubu as presidential flag bearer. And then Dangote Refinery first production date revealed signals delay in petrol availability. Now, ECOWAS holds meeting in Abuja about common currency and coups in Africa. And then update, death toll of Kaduna Abuja Expressway auto crash rises to 18. And senators donate 109 million naira 1 month salary to Kaduna bomb victims. Okay, and the LEA bests pre-wedding drug party in Kasina arrests a groom of 25 and 25 others. TCN vandalism, insecurity threats to our operations in Port Harcourt region. Also, Modi's Nigeria upgrade will attract foreign investors. That's what analysts are saying. Well, Moody's has sort of upgraded Nigeria when it comes to its economy or stance, and therefore they are saying that it's going to invite or it's going to entice people to come in to invest in Nigeria. But the question is, what about the security issues? Have it been addressed? As me, I want to go into the petroleum industry. I want to come there and then I have to go to that side, the Niger belt and stuff like that. Would I have the security that I need? That's a question there. But well, lots more going to be coming your way from there. Appreciate military personnel sacrifices. Naval chief tells Nigerians. Well, they will appreciate that. But if you go on mistakenly bombing citizens, I mean, then you have to actually. But are they going to actually bring or hold somebody culpable for that action that brought about the death of people in Kaduna? We're going to be telling you more about that. I mean, the whole village where an event is being held and people have been killed like that way. Well. So coming your way from Starr Radio UK. Policeman kidnapped me, collected 1 million naira for my release. A man is alleged. Oh boy! I hope that they were not real policemen. That they were using the police apparel or clothing or uniform to do that. So it was a fake uniform. But if they were real policemen, oh boy! Oh boy! That would be a great news for people. Well, they tell you that, well, we don't believe in them, so what do we do? But let's move on to be coming away from Nigeria. Now, moving on to other parts of Africa as well. As I did say earlier, when ECOWAS sets arms committee to negotiate with Niger junta on return to civilian rule. Have they seen to the issue that brought about that coup d'etat? Has it been addressed? We seem to be putting the cart before the horse, always. Not addressing issues. What propelled that thing to happen? That's the question that we need to ask ourselves. DRC incumbent President Tshisekedi vows to rid country of M23 rebels. Well, interestingly, he's been there, and these rebels' power is growing. But he's now saying, you know what? Keep me in, and I'm going to. So, if you've not been able to do it in the past, what should I going to be doing it now? That's the question. But you want to know more? Continue to stay put and continue to enjoy the program that we are bringing your way. It is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. In Egypt, presidential election enters second day in vote likely to give Sisi a third term. Oh boy. All right then. Now moving on straight to other stories as well. Headmasters are imposing illegal fees on students, causing students drop out. EduWatch is saying that's in Ghana, but the question is, the money that government is giving to the secondary schools to run that free education, is it good enough? Does it go far enough? Does it address whatever needs that the students need, or it's inadequate, and therefore the authority, the school authorities are headed by the headmaster or headmistress, who will have to think outside the box. So what is going on? Well. OSP allows whistleblowers for their valuable contribution to its work. But this work, there's always a spanner being thrown into the web of the OSP. But what do you think about all that? More going to be coming your way. Let's move on to other parts of the world as we are pressed with time. We need to have Mr. Olayomi Koiki on. Now, in other stories making the rounds in other parts of the world as well. Now, Hamas threatens hostages as Netanyahu says group ends is near. And then new leader tells Argentina shock treatment looms. The country's new far-right president vows to launch a radical economic program as he is sworn in. Let's see what happens there. Zelensky's intense looking chat with Hungary's Orban. His exchange with the man threatening to block Ukraine's EU aspirations comes ahead of a visit to the US. And then $1 billion questions at heart of Trump's trial. Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago property has been valued between 18 million and 1 billion. So what's its real worth? Oh boy. Okay. Betrayed Afghan troops face return to Taliban. Now about 200 British trained special forces soldiers are in danger as Pakistan expels undocumented foreigners. These are stories making the rounds there as well. It's all coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Australia to have immigration toughen English test. The annual intake is to be slashed to 250,000 with housing and infrastructure already under strain. And is that what the UK is also trying to mimic? Well. Stop the boat. Okay. Now, UK earmarks 700 million for small boat arrivals to 2030. Invitation to businesses to manage migrants is signed that official sea channel crossing continuing. But well, in other stories making the round this morning, mosquito-borne disease risk looms for UK. A study is saying disease like dengue fever could be common if little is done to tackle climate change, report is saying. And then drugs stronger than heroin linked to 54 UK deaths. Synthetic opioids are being produced in illicit labs in China, the UK's National Crime Agency is saying. Well, they have the market here, so they just throw it on the market or flash it on the market, and we have people coming in to get it. Now, Rishi Sunak begins COVID evidence with apology to victims. The Prime Minister, who was Chancellor during the pandemic, says he is deeply sorry to those who lost loved ones and to all those who suffered losses in one way or the other. Whatever it is, lots more going to be coming your way from here. It is Star Radio UK. Just a few seconds to 11. But let's enjoy this song whilst we get ready for Mr. Olayomi Koiki. It's Africa's Christmas Praise Medley by Toby Jeff Richards. Enjoy it, and I'll be with you. Stay tuned, and don't you go away.
Come on, you faithful. Come on, you faithful. Come on, you faithful to Bethlehem. Come on, you faithful. Come on, you faithful. Come on, you faithful. Everybody, lift your voice. Come on, you faithful. Come on, you faithful. Come on, you faithful to Bethlehem. Sing it one more time. Come on, you faithful. Come on, you faithful. Come on, you faithful. Come on, you faithful to Bethlehem. Somebody say, somebody faithful. Come on, you faithful. I know you love this one like this. Oh, come, all you say. Listen up, say, Georgia. Oh, come, you say, come and behold it. From the King.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Everybody, get there. Ooh, get my Are you ready? You are master of the universe. Everybody shout, master of the universe. Hey, you are the everything. You are the air. You are the air. You are the hey. Let's take this another way. Are you ready now? Hey, have you heard what the Lord has done? He has destroyed. So lift your voice up in the throne.
Okay, Okay, some music there for you. Grand African Christmas praise medley there. Come all you faithful, to Bethlehem. I think I've spiced your morning this morning, wherever you might be. But let's see whether we got Mr. Olayomi Koiki on this morning, where he's going to be joining us from. Well, he's flying on a plane, but I know that he's home. So let's see what plane is he flying on. But let me say, Yomi, good morning to you.
Well, a very good morning to you, and I hope you can hear me back in the studio.
Yes, loud and clear, Mr.
Archie, and good morning to all our listeners and viewers around the world.
How are you doing, sir?
Well, as you always say, when we're alive, we gotta be grateful, and we have to also appreciate life when we are still here. So I'm doing very well. It's been a very busy weekend, but again, it's great to be back, and we are still here doing what we love to do. Giving as many of what is happening in Nigeria, what is happening around the world. But like I said, I'm doing very well. How was your weekend as well?
Yeah, it was quite a busy one, moving here, doing that. I finished. I thought, God, we need to wake up. By the grace of God, we are up, well and kicking. So we thank God, because some people who didn't wake up this morning, they are dead. So when we have that opportunity, we are grateful.
Some people died 18 years ago, which is the plane behind me. Sosoliso plane crash 2005. We're going to talk about that. To survive, I spoke to a mother yesterday, and I'll be telling us what she said. We spoke to her on Wednesday during the Niger Voices, but some information that she said yesterday indicate that whether we have true leaders in Africa when incident of such happen or not, but it is still the finest African and Caribbean radio station. And I'll come back again to you in the studio, Mr. Archie.
Yes, listeners, Mr. Olayomi Koiki. It looks like his image is a bit frozen there. I'm not sure whatever is happening there, though. But
okay, let's work on that.
Okay. Whilst he's trying to work on that for us, let's quickly. I want him to talk about that plane, because we will love to know more about what took place there, what brought about the plane crash, compensation that took place, and lots more from there. Okay, yes.
Well, in 2005, a plane flew from Abuja heading into Port Harcourt. But unfortunately, just as we know, the failure of a society, a failure of a time constraint, this flight that eventually led to almost 108 people died. 60 children died out of that plane crash. It is called the Sosoliso plane crash of 2005. The former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, was the president as at the time, and Atiku, that has also been contesting, was also the vice president as at that time as well. So what do we know? This flight took out at about 8 minutes past 2 p.m. local time in Nigeria, in Abuja, after the school break away, which is going into the Christmas time. 18 years yesterday. The question is, what led to this plane crash? There was actually another plane crash 3 months before this Sosoliso plane crash that also took so many lives, to the hundreds. But as we continue to read and as we continue to see, the pains and the agony of many of the family that died in this plane crash, justice have not been served. And from the mother that we spoke to yesterday, even the president refused, or for whatever reason, did not visit this family. There's a survivor, and that's why they say in everything there will always be a survivor. And the survivor, we see if we can get our image out. Let us say to those of us that are going to be seeing this image that she was burnt up to 65% of her body. It's a very terrible fire incident, but many lives would have been saved. But from now looking back, it seems that we lost many people on that fateful day, because even the mother said when they got to the hospital, few hours after the parents find their way to where the children were taken to, there was no oxygen. There was nothing called emergency at the international airport right inside Port Harcourt. And like I said, one beautiful sister, a beautiful one, survived that plane crash. And like I said, the image is going to come up. Her name is called Kechi. She survived the Sosoliso plane crash, and 18 years after, she wrote Dear 60 Angels, which is the 60 children that died from Loyola Gisot College. And you can see the burnt there. We're going to adjust the camera. She's also sending a message to say, 18 years have passed since the Sosoliso plane crash that took your lives, among other dear souls, while sparing mine and one other as well. We also lost, a church leader that died in that plane crash. And like I said, the mother says, till today, there has not been any justice for the 108 people that died at what is now called the Sosoliso plane crash.
Just looking at the image, the way it just is, it's quite a sad issue there, honestly, because I'm looking at it that so were the victims' families compensated, and those who are alive as well, were they compensated? Have they received anything in the first place?
Well, the mother said, the state governor, as at the time, tried their best, but, nothing from the federal. I mean, I did ask if there's an inquiry that has now been given to them, what led, because there's a lot of different things that popped up that says that what took place was the failure of the engine. Some also talked about the error from the pilot. The plane actually busted while it was landing, and it is because there's a fault with the engine. Was the engine aware? Was the fault aware before the plane took off from Abuja? And like I said, the politician actually took the slot of the children in the morning that led to the children and the other passenger traveling in the afternoon. And you can see that whatever led to the Sosoliso plane crash, one thing is, we have not been able to get justice to what happened. The mother that we spoke to, that was her first son. The son was also a genius from what she said. The son was collecting up to 11 awards as at the time he was in a secondary and primary school. He was the best genius. He would have been 32 years old. But like I say, may the soul of those that passed on. And as we always say, may Nigeria not happen to you. Just before I come back again to you, in St. Port Harcourt on Friday, another young man in the gym got a call from a mother of cultism, shooting sporadically at the resident. He took into his car, drove very fast, which again, we advise people do not drive beyond the speed limit. He actually overtake a vehicle, led into a ram into the building. 2 hospitals rejected him. The third one, he died before that. This happened on Friday in Port Harcourt as well.
Wow. That's a sad one. That's a sad one there. But Yomi, before we run up this aviation incident, now, did the airline compensate the victims? Now, I'm saying that to say that now, before any plane is made airworthy to fly, one of their policies is to have an insurance. So we know that when something of the sort happens, I mean, in this part of the world, assuming touchwood, British Airways flies and crashes, the government of the UK will not pay anything, but British Airways and their insurers are supposed to see to it that they compensate the people adequately. Now, have those things been addressed at all before we come to the state?
As much as, we love to make it very good that, things have been done in this capacity, but Nigeria is a lawless country. Nigeria doesn't value the human right of those that are alive, not to talk about those that have died. What happened is I did ask the mother, if there's any court case. There is a court case, and as you can tell, court case in Nigeria will go forever because it is just trying to avoid certain things. But again, Obasanjo at the time grounded the whole Sosoliso airline, and till date, it seems that not much inquiry has been done, and you can tell that makes it different from when we look at the inquiry that took place between the COVID that we went last week Wednesday when the Starr Radio UK was on the ground during the former British Prime Minister Boris Johnson. It just indicates what some of us have said, that if the country is too big to be managed, Latvia is 1.8 million, break away from Soviet Union. Nobody wants to break away from a country, but when you are not of the same culture, the same language, these are what ignite. And this week is very important. Nnamdi Kanu returned again to court on the 15th, and we hope justice will come for him.
Will justice prevail? Well, there's one program that I like watching. I like watching lots of documentaries, and one of my documentaries that I like watching is air crash investigation. And I see when crashes have happened and they have these analysts, engineers or pilots or this, and they come to investigate the whole thing, and then they come to tell you exactly what happened. And then they can say that, referring that, I mean, looking at all the fleet that are maybe the same kind of flight, or if it's human error, they'll come out with that. Was there anything of the sort? Did they come out with anything of the sort?
Sorry, I lost spot there. Sorry.
Yeah. I was saying that there are air crash investigations that goes on when there are incidents like that. If any plane could even crash land here, no, they will still do air crash investigation to find out what the causes were.
What happened?
Yeah. Was there anything of the sort done? And Soliso Airlines, are they still in operation?
From what I've read, people say that after that accident, there was a lot of changes, within the sector, because there was not any emergency at that airport. More life would have been saved, but because of that, Obasanjo, from what I've told, I did ask, if anyone resigned. The mother said that, the aviation ministers at the time have died, but there was not anything of resignation. I mean, Nigeria is a lawless country, because even the bomb that took place in Kaduna, nobody has been resigning, nobody has been paid call for that, but it just shows that managing, praying to God is part of Africa rather than taking the bull by the horn.
Well, they will tell us to go and pray when blatantly you see people flouting the rules, and you see the person right in front of you, and they say go and pray. You think that is okay? And when we have all these issues going on in Africa, and people rise up, and then we say, oh, those who rose up are not thinking right, and we're not practicing democracy and all stuff. I'll leave that for another day. But listeners, it is Star Radio UK. In our North London studios, Mr. Olayomi, Koiki, I'm Archie here in the South studios, and we are bringing you everything that you need to know at 11:15. Now, Dangote Refinery, diesel, Jet A1, hit market on January, petrol delayed. Now, well, we know that he's sourcing his crude oil from outside the country, but well, come January, it's going to be upstream. Yomi, tell us more.
Well, we've been monitoring, the Dangote, even though, from what the former president told us, gave us the impression that, the oil refinery was ready to hit, the market, and that will literally help Nigerians. Dangote business, is a business, is not, a free biz. So many Nigerians that are expecting that by the time these hit the market, maybe there'll be price changes in the country when it comes to the petrol, when it comes to, the diesel, and also the A1, which is used for most of the aircraft. So the headline, as you read earlier, said the Dangote refinery will start producing what we call the automotive gas oil, also known as diesel, and the Jet A1 for the aviation fuel in January. We've seen the arrival of this huge tank bringing in. Remember, we talked about it, where is he going to be sourcing from? But it seems that Dangote is not waiting for the Nigeria crude oil yet, because probably maybe of some of the problems that have lingered around the, the crude oil industry in Nigeria for a very long time. So what we've seen is that, in 2024, while the production of the premium metal spirit, popularly known as petrol, will be delayed by the supply of the crude oil.
Okay, listeners, just
require a minimum.
Go on.
Will require a minimum of 6 million barrels of crude oil to kickstart the full production of refinery products, including AGO, PMS, Jet A1, and also the purpose kerosene, or what we call kerosene, which is still being used. But when the refinery got last week was just 1 barrel of crude oil, while they're saying that the 5 million barrels would also be arriving at the facility, which has cost Dangote $20 billion.
Well, $20 billion. Now, a single entity or a private entity is able to raise that money, get it upstream, running, and then we are going to be seeing that a whole nation have not been able to do so, and all the 3 refineries that we have are on their knees. But listeners, this is all coming your way from Star Radio UK. We're going to be telling you as it is. Anthony Dedeji, once again, good morning to you, and thank you very much for joining us. And also, you watching us live on all the other platforms, we salute you. We love you to bits. Without you, we'll not be here. There'll be no point of sitting here. But we thank God that you are there, and thank God Nigeria has not happened to you. At least you have life, so there is still hope. All right? Yes. All right then. Let's crack on. Now, interestingly, moving on straight to the call by the naval chief for citizens to appreciate the military personnel sacrifices, which I say, yeah, it's all well and good. Now, some people are of the view that, well, if they are there, that we need to appreciate them. What about all the things that they do? Here, even the COVID inquiry that is going on, the former prime minister, the current prime minister, they were doing everything. They were giving monies to people stay home, and they were doing all those. So we could see that they did some right. However, they still had an inquiry to find out the mistakes that have been done, so that next time they are not going to do that. But this has happened not the first time. We have issues in the southeast where people are bombed, or areas or communities are bombed. And then we wouldn't hear anything, whether there's an inquiry or not, and people are held culpable, or maybe there are some resignations. We'll not hear anything of the sort. But they're saying, oh, let's appreciate them. We are appreciating them, and they are killing us. Yomi, tell us more.
Well, this is actually coming from the Vice Admiral, the Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, has actually said that personnel of the Nigerian Armed Forces and their families should well be appreciated for their services and commitment towards securing the country. And like you said, I mean, yes, it is important that the reason why some of us put on the military attire in this country and around the world is to say we'll appreciate the service of some of these, hardworking military men that are doing so much across the globe. He also went further to say that he noted that the spouses and the families of personnel should be appreciated, adding that their efforts have enabled personnel to give their best during various operations. Ogala spoke at the Christmas carol that was organized by the Naval Officers' Wife Association on Sunday night in Abuja.
Interesting. Now it's easy to go and to what we call an event and say, oh, we appreciate blah blah blah, but when some of the excesses are not checked, because that's when we had the issue where the police were what did they call that? When NSAS, because they were doing well, but there were excesses, and that's what the excesses that the citizens were angry about, and that brought about the NSAS. People have losing their lives up to now. With no inquiry reports have been given. We've not heard anything that has been done, so that people can say, oh, we have our trust in them. But well, they are there. They are the what is the security chiefs, and therefore whatever they want to say, they would say. But of course, we have to appreciate them, because there are some people who are doing diligent work, sacrificing their lives, or let me put it this way, majority of them. But it's not so when it comes to the police, because a police or policeman kidnapped me and collected 1 million naira. So you ask yourself the question: what kind of security agencies do we have, Yomi?
Well, the Nigerian police are just another kind of, police that have not been taken care of. Do we blame, a police officer collecting bribe? There was a particular video that is trending on the social media. I don't know where the woman was traveling from on a motorbike, but she's left different African countries. But it seems that Nigeria will never disappoint you, because when she got to Nigeria, rather than the officer to check her document and make sure that whatever she was bringing across the country, but probably maybe they got carried away, we will probably say an Oyibo woman, was traveling through Nigeria in a motorbike, but not realizing that she was recording every details. And as usual, Nigerian police never disappointed. They collected bribe from her, and the video has now been circulated. We hope this officer will be dealt with.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Officers,
go on.
Are officers being taken care of in terms of their personal needs? When you see an officer in UK, well, you'll have to think twice whether you want to even give the bribe, because it's looking very good, but some of the officers in Nigeria look very tacky. Policeman kidnapped me, collected 1 million naira before I was released. This is coming from Mr. Samuel Shoyemi, has recounted some men who claim to be police officer from Zone 2, Onikon, Lagos. We know that this is going on, and we hope that the Lagos State Governor, the CP, and the IG will look into so many atrocities committed by Nigerian police. It's been going on for years, but it cannot continue when innocent Nigerians are being extorted. This is what led to the NSAS movement, that led to the killing itself of those that came out. And today, when we tell Nigerians that what you need to do, you need to ask for your right, they say, well, you come back home because we are likely to be killed or to be extorted. In what Shoyemi described as both an adoption and robbery, he said that the corpse transferred the sum of 1 million naira from his account before he and his wife and family members were let to go. This took place on Thursday at about 11 p.m. the 10th of October, when the armed men invaded his house in Oshiele area of Abeokuta in Ogun State capital.
Well, listeners, what do you think about all that? Do we still have trust in our security agencies? I would say, well, do we even take good care of them? Like Yomi was saying, now, because you see the policemen here, you cannot dare say, oh, do you want to get some bribe? There are some people who are dodgy. I mean, that one I will tell you, yes. But majority of them, let me put it, 90% of them, it will be difficult for you to say you want to bribe them. It will be very, very, very difficult. But the way our police, or I mean, especially the police, well, men or women, or the police force is like somebody. They tell you that if you have to get your own boots. You have to. Whatever they are making is not enough, so they'll try to find ways and means to make themselves survive. But what do you think about all that? Olakunle, massive good morning to you, and lots of love to you as well. It says good morning to Mr. Archie and White Lion himself. Much love and respect. I will respect you, and as I said on the other platforms as well, we want to salute each and every one of you. The 27 River Assembly lawmakers dump PDP for APC. Is it for political expediency, or they say, yeah, money don't come, so now let's switch come, and then we can get money, or what exactly is happening, Yomi?
Well, as we always say, they're all the same. It doesn't make any difference whether, it's PDP or APC, but they'll tell you that we are not the same because they run different operation, especially when it comes to their manifesto. Just as the Yoruba people say that, Bola Tinubu is not a Yoruba president, is working as a Nigerian president under the Nigerian law for the same manifesto of fixing Nigeria. So yes, I mean, it's not the first time that we are seeing movement, especially after election has been conducted, and sometimes it could be for political gain and reason. River State, as we know, is a very, very tough state. The present, governor, and the previous one, Wike, that is currently the FCT minister, have had friction, that led to a lot of, almost infighting in the last couple of weeks. But today, 27 of the National Assembly dumped the PDP for the APC. What is behind this? 27 lawmakers were under the leadership of Martin Amaulu, who is said to be very loyal to the ex-governor Nelson Wike, and you can tell again it's all about the political gain. But the ongoing political drama in River State has been taken very interesting, as 27 members of the River State House of Assembly have now defected from the People's Democratic Party to the APC, or Progressive Party. A member of the Assembly, Emimi George, confirmed this, that those 27 were under the leadership of Martin. He said the decision was taken during their sitting on Monday morning.
Well, listeners, it is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Don't worry, you don't see me, you see Yomi, and that is okay. Now, Moody's has upgraded Nigeria's financial stance, and the analysts are saying that this is going to attract investors into the country. I don't know whether you come by that story, but it's quite an interesting one. With the insecurity, what do you think, Yomi?
Well, there's different, when these kind of things comes out, the question is how true and how serious can we verify it? Because at the end of the day, those on the ground, we're going to have Bishop Additional, speaking to us, on Wednesday, as the Naira becomes scarcity again, and that again is becoming something that a lot of people are worried about. We know that the federal government has released the budget up to 27 trillion that will be able to be for the stabilization of the current economy of the country. We've seen President Bola Tinubu travel from India all the way straight to Dubai, from Dubai to Saudi Arabia. He's been back again to Dubai, and all this is because they're trying to bring in those investors. Yes, I've picked up the story because it's actually on the routers, and but the question again is, how serious is a country that many companies are pulling out? Yes, many Nigerians want to see a better outlook. Many Nigerians want to be able to get a job. many Nigerians want to see not devaluation of the naira, but it seems that Bishop Additional says that it seems that the dollar as of today is almost 1,000 naira to a dollar. As of yesterday, the pounds is about 1,000 to 482. But Nigerian outlook raised to positive mood on the reform progress, where the removal of the subsidy has created a lot of tension in the country. Many Nigerians are now asking, where is this money that has been saved? But it seems that the president probably might still be saving enough for the raining day. But like you said, Modi change Nigeria outlook to positive is one of the headlines coming out this morning.
Well, listeners, it is Star Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. I'm bringing the time now to 11:29. We'll go back to Yomi for those stories. But before then, Olakunle says no good news have ever come out of Nigeria. Now, foreign investors are leaving Nigeria on a daily basis. The economy is going down on a daily basis as well. So, how did Modi do that prediction or that upgrade? Well, who knows?
I hope money hasn't changed hands.
Who knows? Who knows? A few crude oil, barrels of crude oil might have changed hands there. But listeners, wherever you are, stay tuned. Don't you go anywhere. Yomi is going to bring us the rest of the stories making the rounds. Over to you, Yomi.
Thank you so much, Mr. Archie. At 11:30, it is still the finest in London. It is the 11th day of December 2023, and quite a lot that we need to catch up with. Let's first go straight to the expectation this week is a very, very important week again for the Biafrans, also for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and as we have said so many times, is kidnapped from Kenya by the former president Muhammadu Buhari is something that shouldn't have happened under international law. But again, what is going to happen? This new administration will now take from what Buhari got. So let's look at the expectation this week, and most importantly, as the government in exile continue to say that if Nnamdi Kanu is not released, we will continue to lock down the southeast part of Nigeria. Literally on last week, the Senate again spoke about the activities of the Biafrans and the locking down of the southeast, how it is having a big impact when it comes to commerce in that region, and why this administration must literally look into it. According to the Prime Minister of the Biafra government in exile, Mazi Simon Ekpa, have now issued a statement yesterday that the southeast will again be locked from the 15th of the month up to the 19th, and the whole reason is because of Nnamdi Kanu. So we're going to take a snip of that quickly before we go straight to some of the other headlines. Public service announcement, sit-at-home order following the demand by the Biafra people for more sit-at-home civil disobedience. The Biafra Republic government in exile and the Biafra de facto government in homeland wishes to notify Biafrans that there will be a sit-at-home civil disobedience starting from the 15th, which is just 4 days from today, December 2023 to 19th of December. The sit-at-home is for the following reason: demand the immediate unconditional release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who remains illegally detained at the DSS dungeon, and his next court date is on the 15th. To protest against Nigeria being officially addressed as an Islamic state by the United Kingdom government, as recently pronounced by the UK Secretary for Foreign and Commonwealth and Development Affairs, Lord David Cameron. This is happening while the Biafrans are not Muslims and can never be. We take one more.
Just a quick one there before. I know you want to bring the other one on, but has the authorities in the southeast had any meetings or deliberations with the what do you call them, the Biafrans? Have they had any meeting of the sort? It looks like they don't care, and there's a lockdown, and then there's and then it's costing the economy and everything that is happening there. Have there been any exchanges there at all? Any meetings of any sort?
Well, there's a pressure from the Ohanize, to say to President Bola Tinubu, to overlook, whatever is happening from the previous administration, because what we can say is that, the kidnap and the rendition of Nnamdi Kanu should never have happened in the first place. He wasn't traveling with a Nigerian passport. He has denounced being in Nigeria. He holds a British passport, but it seems that, his detention right now is creating more problems, even if the country would eventually have to be de-amalgamated. There's a process. I mean, it's not the first time we are seeing this happening around the world. In 1991, Soviet Union dissolved to 15 different countries. You know, we've talked about it almost all the time. But it seems that the continuity of Nnamdi Kanu is also saying that the Biafrans will continue to have that civil disobedience, because that is the only way they can engage. But you're quite right. Many of the leaders in the Southeast says they are speaking to President Bola Tinubu, but as the president that have just done his budget for the first time, after 6 months, the test of time will indicate within the next 72 hours when Nnamdi Kanu court case return back on the 15th.
Okay, listeners, we'll be following very closely, but let Yomi bring you the rest of the story, that from the Southeast and the others. Over to you, sir.
Well, let's go straight. This morning again, the CBN, we continue to get worried. It's Christmas time. If I send money to my loved ones, I expect that money to be able to be received and also to be used for whatever reason I'm sending it, because that money does not belong to the federal government. That doesn't belong to whoever is behind the CBN. But this morning, many Nigerians are now already complaining. With the complaint is getting to us that retrieving money from the ATM and the POS is becoming very difficult. Why is that again? We thought that with the new structure in place, we shouldn't get this happening. The CBN, the Central Bank of Nigeria, is now insist there is sufficient stock of Naira notes as complaint about scarcity persists. The question again is, why are we having this persistent in the country when this shouldn't be happening? But like I said, many diaspora will be sending in billions of Naira equivalent to dollar back home, but it seems that the CBN is saying that there is no cause for alarm. It admits the complaint by some Nigerians about the scarcity of Naira note. The Central Bank of Nigeria says there is an adequate supply of the currency. This follows complaint by some of the bank customers about the scarcity of the Naira note. We'll be having Bishop Adesina to speak to us on this on Wednesday, because we are now less than 14 days to Christmas. Many wants to buy the rice, even though it's almost 60,000 Naira for a bag. Many will also want their family to have at least adequate, to sustain them. But it seems that getting that money out now from the POS, which is called the point of sale, and also the Bureau de change and the ATM, even some deposit money banks officials also claim that. I've also been told by another person on the ground yesterday that those that handle cash, the bank is begging them to bring those cash in so that they can make use of it. It just shows that something is not right. But the CBN says everything is under control and there's no need for panic withdrawal by the customers. We'll be monitoring that. But like I said on Wednesday, Bishop Adesina, our financial analyst, will be speaking to us to tell us more about why we should be worried or not worried with the scarcity of Naira. Well, it seems that Ondo State is still in the picture this morning again. And as we've been saying, if Akeredolu is not doing very well, he should either resign or allow his deputy to take over what is the affairs of Ondo State for the Ondo State and the Ondo people. But it seems that politicians always are not ready to give up until the ghost itself happen. We do not pray for him to die, but the question is, after his return back from Germany, after 3 months of taxpayers' money, he has now decided to live in Ibadan. I don't know why a governor lives on another state and operate from that. But the headline this morning is coming from elder statesman Edward Clark. Is now urging President Bola Tinubu to apply doctrine of necessity in Ondo State and allow Aye Datiwa to act as the governor. Mr. Clark wrote a letter to Tinubu. Is coming barely a week after President met with the political actors in Ondo State to resolve the political crisis. We've been hearing that document has been signed. I don't know whether Ondo State governor is now in a vegetable state. Maybe he cannot sign those documents, and it seems that somebody has been manipulating his signature. That has been defended that is not true. But the question is, you can't sit in Ibadan operating as a governor. You should either return back to your state if you're fit, and if you're not fit, the best thing to do is to resign. But there's tension in Ondo State as I speak to you this morning, and Edward King an elder statesman is now asking Tinubu to adopt the doctrine of necessity as a solution to the current political impasse. Showore is our own. He's going to be going to Ondo State. I believe, I'm going to see if I can get that on the social media, because he's already done his flyer and he will be speaking in Akure in Ondo State. And the reason for that again is because he's from Ondo State and he believes that Akeredolu must resign, as he's also saying. But whether Akeredolu will resign and the wife will allow that, some say that the wife is the one controlling the state. But Showore, as an Ondo indigene, is also saying this morning that Akeredolu must resign. Let me go through what he's saying this morning, 33 minutes ago. That was hypocritical that Akeredolu, when he was the president of the Nigerian Bar Association in 2010, speaking on the fate of the late Umaru Yaradua, when his family, led by his wife, Turaya, was using Nigeria to play Russian roulette. Today, Aketi, people are doing the same thing in Ondo State, and that's why they say, what goes around comes around. Akeredolu was fighting Umaru Yaradua as at the time, and I have it here even on the Al Jazeera that says, we cannot see him. Yaradua, I remember Obasanjo says, Yaradua, are you dead or you are still alive? Eventually, Yaradua was dead in Germany, and they were trying to protect the interest of the northern part and the Kaaba, not giving us that the president died so that the next person take over, which was Jonathan. And today, Akeredolu is playing the same game, and this is what politics mean in Africa. I'm going to go straight to one or two more. 5-year admission ban law graduate student frustrated with the Bayes University crisis. Tinubu should consider the plight of private university student loan. Sorry, I take that again. Tinubu should consider plight of the private university student, include them in the loan. This is coming from Dogara. Remember that he was also one out of those different politicians that have been in power. He was a former Speaker of the Federal House of Representatives. Yakubu Dogara is now saying that this administration must include the private university to have access into what we called the the loan. A very sad one before I come again to you. A popular TV broadcaster on the NTA, Aisha Bello, has died. Many of us will remember her as a face to the national broadcasting television in Nigeria. As I have it this morning, she has passed on, and may her soul rest in peace. Popular broadcaster Aisha Bello Mustafa died. Let's see if we can get that image out while the engineer get that out quickly. Once again, this is still the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. As I say, may Nigeria not happen to you, as we continue to remember those that have died, especially 18 years on from the people that died. And that is Aisha that died. The former general manager of the NTA Parliament reportedly passed away today. She was among the popular broadcaster on the NTA network News 9 in the 90s and early 2000. She retired last year after 35 years in service. A funeral prayer has now been scheduled at the Central Mosque in Abuja today, where she will be buried. Tomorrow makes it 8 days that Dr. Chief Sunday Igboho's mother-in-law died as well, and we pray for her as well, as she will be continue to be remembered. Also, for the mother of Igboho himself, a lot of preparation is still going on, but there's not a date yet, as many speculation in the public domain right now. And on that note, I'm going to take us straight to what is happening on the social media at 11:42 on the network Star Radio UK. And as many says, there is a lot trending, and I'm trying to see what actually is trending. The Scottish Independent is trending, not too sure why. Fubara is trending, Amechi is trending, and I saw Wike. I'm not sure whether he's been having a good drink at the Chief of Staff office, last week while he was dancing. We'll try and get the video on tomorrow, but he says, on your mandate, on your mandate, on your mandate. Remember, he's still the FCT minister, and he's also still a member of the PDP under this current administration, is the one in charge of the FCT minister. Again, Simon Ekpa saying, Nigeria 419 new format, don't fall victim. Many people call you from Nigeria, and they'll say, there's a meeting. Maybe you want to send us the 6-digit code to our listeners at home and abroad. If you do such, you will lose your WhatsApp and everything will be taken over. These calls are coming from Nigeria, and they're coming from Yoruba, Igbo, and different people. But the question is, if you're attending a meeting The link should be sent to you. You should be clicking on that link. Nobody should call you and ask for the link or a code to be sent. What they're going to do, they will override your own WhatsApp, and you might eventually lose that. We've seen people that have called us and say, we've lost our total WhatsApp, not just the WhatsApp, they've lost contact, and sometimes it could be frustrating to start telling people, please do not get in touch with anyone because my number has been hacked. That is just an advice this morning on Monday morning, and I'm going to return back again to you in the studio, Mr. Archie.
Well, that's a good advice there. Listeners, Starr Radio UK, Miss Olayomi, Koiki in North London studios. I'm actually here in the South studios, and we are bringing you all the updates and what you need to know when it comes to Nigeria. But interestingly, the CBN governor, now he was summoned by the House of Representatives. Yeah, they said that they were issuing an arrest warrant. What has happened to him?
Well, we see if that is going to happen this week. Maybe we'll be attending that. I'll be monitoring that. And if I have any details on that, I'll be telling you. But I'm sure it seems that this administration, in as much as the Senate, they're all rubber stamp, it would attend that as against the previous one under the former President Muhammadu Buhari. That was as lawless as anything you can think of. I don't think Tinubu wants to be a lawless president. He wants to abide by the rules, even though we know Akpabio is just a rubber stamp, just as the speaker as well.
Well, that is what is happening in Nigeria. All I can say is what? It says that you can't go on and invest in the country without being sure of the security and economy of that country. Nigeria is a goner. And he says lots of love to each and every one of you and to everyone on all the other system platforms, wherever you are listening to us or watching us from. We want to salute you. Bayomi, before you go.
Grace, the show says good morning to you, Mr. Frank, Mr. Archie, to the Starr Radio UK, and also to myself, and as well to everyone on board. Also, soon Oduse APC, Egbekebe means dangerous groups. So, and then so much shout out from Okoya Folayan, Jimo Gasaki, and many of those that are listening on different platforms this morning. And I'm going to come back to you now, Mr. Archie, one more time.
Okay, Yomi, have a wonderful day, and then we catch up later.
Bye for now. And make sure you don't touch the dial, because Starr Radio UK with Archie take you through the rest of the program. I'll be back again same time tomorrow. And from this part, I say a very good morning and bye for now.
Bye-bye. Well, listeners, that has been Mr. Olayomi Koiki bringing you all the updates and everything that you need to know from Nigeria this morning. I hope that you enjoyed it. Now, if you have any comments that you are yet to post it, feel free to do so, because I promise you that you post it and I'm going to read that. But for now, we're going to be taking a musical break. And this is another Christmas tune from Keresimesi Day. It says Christmas is here. Okay, I don't know. Let's enjoy it. Let's enjoy it. Let me put it that way, and I'll be back with you.
Kérésìmesì dé, ọdún aláyọ̀, èmi yóò máa jó, èmi yóò máa yọ̀. Kérésìmesì dé, ọdún aláyọ̀.
Kérésìmesì dé, ọdún aláyọ̀.
Ó dé.
Èmi yóò máa jó.
Máa jó.
Èmi yóò máa yọ̀.
Aláyọ̀ ni mí.
Olùgbàlà dé, ọdún ìdásílẹ̀ dé.
Oh yeah. Olùgbàlà dé o.
Kérésìmesì dé.
Ó dé.
Ọdún aláyọ̀.
Ẹ jẹ́ ká yọ̀.
Èmi yóò máa jó. Èmi yóò máa yọ̀. Olùgbàlà dé, ọdún ìdásílẹ̀ dé. Emmanuel yọba, Emmanuel yọba, Emmanuel yọba, ẹ káàbọ̀ máa wọlé. Emmanuel yọba, Emmanuel yọba, Emmanuel yọba, ẹ káàbọ̀ máa wọlé. Emmanuel yọba.
Who am I that you're mindful of me? Who am I that you gave up your door?
chains them done they break. Who am I that you're mindful of me? Who am I that you gave up your glory? Waiting at you and make you love me like this, oh. As you don't come home, my chains them done they break.
Kérésìmesì dé, ọdún aláyọ̀, èmi ò máa jó, èmi ò máa yọ̀, Olùgbàlà dé, ọdún ìdásílẹ̀ dé.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Broadcasting worldwide online 24/7.
Èmi ò máa yọ̀, Olùgbàlà dé, ọdún ìdásílẹ̀ dé. Òde o, Jésù Kristi tá ń ròyìn rẹ̀, ó ti dé. Òde o, Olùgbàlà aráyé ó ti dé. Òde o, Jésù Kristi tá ń ròyìn rẹ̀.
Broadcasting worldwide online 24/7.
Olùgbàlà aráyé ó.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Kábíyèsí ọba aládé àlàáfíà, ó fògo rẹ̀ sílẹ̀ nínú
You are listening to Starr Radio Morning
dídé
Show.
tẹ́ẹ̀dé ló sọ wá dòmìnira.
Starr Radio, radio for the people, by the
Ayọ̀ wá,
people.
ó fi gbàlà ta gbogbo aráyé lọ́rẹ. Because of you my chains are broken. Because of you I'm more than a conqueror. You brought eternal life to all and sundry. You are welcome. Jésù Kristi ẹ káàbọ̀, ẹ káàbọ̀, ẹ káàbọ̀. Òde o, Jésù Kristi tá ń ròyìn rẹ̀, ó ti dé. Òde o, Olùgbàlà aráyé ó ti dé. Kérésìmesì dé, ọdún aláyọ̀, èmi ò máa jó, èmi ò máa yọ̀, Olùgbàlà dé, ọdún ìdásílẹ̀ dé. Kérésìmesì dé, ọdún aláyọ̀, èmi ò máa jó, èmi ò máa yọ̀,
Aláyọ̀ ni
Olùgbàlà dé, ọdún ìdásílẹ̀ dé. Ọdún ìdásílẹ̀ dé.
Who am I that you're mindful of me? Who am I that you gave up your glory? Waiting at you and make you love me like this, oh. As you don't come home, my chains have done this.
Starr Radio, radio for the people, by the people.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Starr, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Star Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Prom, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Prom Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour Show on Star Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agent, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour Show is your best source into the property industry.
Tune in to On Point here on Star Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Star Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820, or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamb Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Pram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Where you go, Afrobeat reggae dancehall taking over. Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancehall taking over. Yo, what's up, people? This is a boy Raskin Bobo One. Tune in every day, every night at the Star Radio UK with the big man them Archie. When I say Orta, you say fire.
Yes, that's fire on the mountains. Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, bringing the time now to 12:01, so 29 minutes, and we're going to be hitting the ground running. Okay, so if you want to join in the conversation, call me on 0208133257. Yes, 0208133257. Okay, now if I happen to want to text or WhatsApp at 0753966174, 0753966174. You do that, I'll be able to read all your messages, whatever or wherever it might be. So make sure your dads are logged in and call us, and I'll do so. Now, also, if you want to X us, formally tweet. Yeah, you want to X us? Yes, our X handle is at Star Radio UK, and the email is info@starradiouk.com. Wherever you are and whatever you do, don't miss out. Get your voice heard. Now let's move on to some of the other stories making the rounds this morning. Quickly on the African continent. Well, as I did say earlier on, in Guinea, divisions in the press in the face of the junta's restrictive measures. Now, private press organizations in Guinea were divided on Sunday over a call for a dead day for Monday, launched after a series of restrictive measures. Now, it says that the Union of Press Professionals of Guinea, that is the SPPG, indicated on social network on Sunday that it was calling for a day without press on Monday. He says the profession is threatened and with extinction. Now, television screens and news sites will display the message "press in danger." That's what they were saying there. But as to whether they're going to be having that press in danger, is the press in danger? Really? Okay, lots more coming your way. Now, various press associations, however, called on Sunday to suspend actions such as the dead days. Now, the principle of which they had supported over the past week, they say, just bear with me. Okay. Okay. All right. Now, so Now, they say they are immediately starting discussions with authorities and want to give every chance for dialogue with them. The High Authority for Communication, HAC, watchdog for the sector, on Saturday asked the supplier, Canal Plus, to withdraw from its offer until further notice. eSpace FM, eSpace TV, Evasion FM, and also Evasion FM and Evasion TV, very popular radio and television channels, indicates in unofficial letters from the hack consulted by our media team. Now, these media were inaccessible on Canal Plus on Sunday, reported by our correspondent. The authorities had already taken similar measures on December 6th against Joma Radio and Television. Each time the hack letters cite reasons of national security without further clarification. Well, so there are others who support the junta, others don't. So the question is, who do you support? And then we talk about democracy, which I believe the rule of law, that's what's supposed to be. But when we're not having things like that, then the question is, what do you think is going to happen from there? What do you think is going to happen? That is a big question. But we all want to cry for freedom. But are we getting the justice for it? So press freedom, are we getting justice for it? There's no freedom without justice. So, what they are doing, is it the right bit? Now, if you are critiquing government, is it for their excesses that you're critiquing them for? Or, what do you think? Let me hear from you. Let me say good morning to Bishop Adeshina once again. He says, kudos to you, my bishop, and to all your colleagues at the RBS office in Lagos. I salute you. I hope you're all doing very, very well. Bishop is going to be joining Olayomi on Wednesday on the Niger Voices, so make sure your dials are logged on when it comes your way, exactly at 6 p.m. That program comes your way every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Okay, now Cameroon's opposition leader Kamto, re-elected at the helm of MRC, is one of the stories making the rounds. The Cameroonian opposition leader Maurice Kamto was re-elected the national president of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement, that's the MRC, on Sunday, December 11. He secured over 99% of the votes as his list stood unopposed. The MRC militants gathered at the Yaoundé Sports Complex for the party's two-day convention. In a speech partly delivered in English and French, 69-year-old Kamto announced the creation of a coalition with the aim to build a peaceful Cameroon. Kamto said the political alliance for change will work with Cameroonians of all backgrounds, including the supporters of the nation's current regime. The Cameroon Renaissance Movement will once again take part in all upcoming elections. This announcement marks a shift in the party's previous contestation strategy in 2020. It boycotted the legislative and municipal elections and therefore has no representatives sitting in the National Assembly. In 2019 and 2020, hundreds of executives and militants of the MRC were arrested following what UN experts called peaceful marches which suffered violent repressions. Listeners, this is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. In Zimbabwe as well, opposition denounced a masquerade during partial elections. The by-election in Zimbabwe, which were held on Saturday without any opposition candidate, the courts have dismissed all of them, constitute a charade and a flagrant violation of constitution, denounced on Sunday the opposition. The by-election where a charade criticized the first opposition party, the Coalition of Citizens for Change, in a press release announcing that it will take legal action. The party denounced a judicial coup d'etat against the right to vote and the right to be elected, and as well as a flagrant violation of the Constitution. The results of the vote should be announced in the coming days. In 2 days preceding the vote, a certain Sengezo Shabangu, presenting himself as the acting General Secretary of the CCC, both but whom the opposition describes as an imposter, obtained from the justice system that it excludes the 9 candidates of the opposition declared. In August, President Emerson Mnangagwa, 81, won a second term, and his party ZANU-PF captured 177 seats of the 280 in parliament after a general election whose fairness was contested. But well, they contested, and what happened? Zwitch. All right then. Well, democracy. Well, it's all Starr Radio UK. Now, still on the African continent, Egyptians went to the polls on Sunday in a presidential election overshadowed by a war in neighboring Gaza, and with a little doubt, the incumbent Abdel Fattah al-Sisi will secure a third term. In a country gripped by the most severe financial crisis in its recent history, inflation has hovered near 40% after the currency lost half of its value and drove up the cost of imports. The economy is at a center of Egyptians' concerns. Even before the current crisis, about 2/3 of the country's nearly 106 million people were living on a below the poverty line. Now, voting will take place until Tuesday between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Each day, with the official result announced on December 18. In front of one Cairo polling station, posters bore messages to get out and participate while a DJ played nationalist songs. Some 67 million people are eligible to vote. By goodness, now 5 million of whom had cast their ballots by 4:30 p.m. GMT. That's 14:30 GMT on Sunday, according to a statement from the National Elections Authority. Now, turnout is expected to be a key indicator of public sentiments in an otherwise uncompetitive election. Last time, it fell 6 points to 41.5%. Now, casting a ballot in the Western Cairo district of Doki, Asma Rifat, a voter in her 40s, said she doesn't know the other candidates. Were there any campaigns there at all? That's the question. But well, listeners, you are listening to Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, a final story, and then we'll move on from there. West African leaders met in Abuja on Sunday for talks on their region, which faces a deepening political crisis, growing threats from jihadists wreaking havoc in the Sahel, and criticism of its leadership in some member countries. The political crisis in Niger was high on the agenda. A commission was set up to engage with the nation's ruling CNSP to decide on progress towards a short transition and other conditions for lifting sanctions. The authority decides to set up a committee of heads of state made up of representatives of the President and Head of State of the Republic of Togo, President and Head of State of the Republic of Sierra Leone, the President and Head of State of the Republic of Benin, to engage with the CNSP and other stakeholders with a view to agreeing on a short transition roadmap, establishing transition organs, as well as facilitating setting up of a transition monitoring and evaluation mechanism to work for the speedy restoration of constitutional order, the president of the ECOWAS Commission said. The announcement comes after Niger's de facto ruler, General Abdurrahman Tiani, met with Togo's President Faure Gnassingbé, from whom he had requested mediation. After the July 26 coup, ECOWAS imposed economic and financial sanctions on Niger. The president of the ECOWAS Commission, Omar Aliou Toure, outlined conditions for their lifting. Well, so let's see what is going to happen. Are they going to budge, or we'll see who will blink first? But this all coming away from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now let's go to Ghana. Let me bring you one story from there. A couple of stories, let me put it that way. Ajani Ajala, hey, how are you doing? How are you doing? We thank God Nigeria has not happened to you. Whatever it is, you are doing well. You are alive. And therefore, as I say all the time, God has still got some business to do with you. All right then. The Office of the Special Prosecutor has commended its sources and whistleblowers for their contribution towards its work. But as to whether that work has actually emanated into anything that we can say, well done to them, is another question. But in a segment to commemorate our International Anti-Corruption Day and the anniversary of the United Nations Convention Against Corruption, the OSP emphasized that the fight against corruption is a shared responsibility. It goes on further to say, we commend our confidential sources and whistleblowers for their valuable contribution to the work of the OSP. We encourage citizens and residents to join us in the fight against corruption. We are reminded of the essence and utility of eradicating the menace of corruption in aid of building our country on fairness, justice, and transparency, the OSP stated. It continued, let us envision a future where every citizen and resident lives with a legitimate expectation that integrity will triumph over deceit and the rule of law will prevail. The fight against corruption is a shared responsibility, and together we can build a prosperous Ghana. The OSP further reiterated its commitment to the fight against corruption in the country. According to the OSP, it will cooperate with other relevant bodies both in Ghana and outside in the fight against corruption in the country. Well, I hope to see that. I really hope that one day I will see that as well. Well, let me bring you this one and then we go away. Florence Amu, a fetish priestess, has been apprehended by the Eastern Regional Police for allegedly defrauding multiple bereaved families by falsely claiming responsibility for their loved ones' deaths. Her partner in crime, Abraham Odote, remains at large. The finished priest, deceitful tactics involve searching communities for obituary posters of relatively affluent bereaved families. Now, she then approaches these families with fabricated allegations, asserting that the deceased has sought spiritual financial assistance, referred to locally as Buame, at her shrine. However, the deceased failed to fulfill their end of the spiritual agreement, resulting in their untimely demise. Now, exploiting the vulnerability of grieving families, the fetish priestess proceeds to threaten them, insisting on performing elaborate rituals, including appeasing the gods and demanding substantial sums of money before allowing the deceased to be buried. She further warns that non-compliance will lead to ongoing deaths within the family, starting with those who orchestrated the funeral. Driven by fear, numerous families fell victim to their deception, paying significant amounts of money under duress. Now, Florence Amu's arrest followed a report filed by a family that had previously fallen prey to her schemes. Subsequent investigation revealed multiple victims with similar complaints. Florence Amu has been remanded by the Confederate Circuit Court B. However, her defense counsel has failed to appear in court on 2 occasions for case management. During the latest court session, the prosecution expressed concerns over the defense counsel's absence despite being served with necessary documents. Now, presiding judge, Her Honor Matilda Ribeiro, emphasized that proceedings will continue without delay if a valid excuse was not provided. Reluctantly granting Amu's plea for another adjournment, the judge directed her to obtain the necessary disclosures. In the event of defense counsel continued absence, case management will commence on the next adjourned date, scheduled for December the 19th. She's going to chop Christmas behind bars. But you come to me, come and tell me that my family, whoever you think is perpetrating that, is died, and therefore I came to you for help, and then because they didn't continue pay one of their side of the deal or whatever it is, so you are not come to threaten me. Boy, oh boy, bring it on. Well, interesting one there. It is all coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Moving on to other stories making the round this morning. In Argentina's new far-right president has vowed to deliver economic shock treatment in his first speech after formally taking office. Javier Milei warned Argentines there is no money and recommitted to a program of harsh austerity measures. The populist outsider won a surprise election victory in November with radical pledges to overhaul the South American nation's ailing economy. Mr. Millei's inauguration was held in Buenos Aires on Sunday. In a day of pomp and ceremony, the 53-year-old capped his extraordinary rise to power with a speech which left Argentines in no doubt he intends to embark on an economic path unlike any previous president. He said he would undo decades of decadence with deep spending cuts designed to slash huge public debts and drive down inflation, which is now higher than 140%. The bottom line is there is no alternative to austerity and there is no alternative to shock treatment, Mr. Milei said. Now, Mr. Milei waved to supporters during a procession to the presidential palace alongside his sister Karina. The confidant, who is expected to play an influential role behind the scenes in his new administration. He addressed the crowd and chanted campaign slogans from the balcony and was presented with a blue and white presidential sash and baton, which he has personalized with engravings of his 5 dogs. So let's see what happens. Will the public be with him? Because if you are able to carry the public along and they are not seeing you saying that, well, tighten your belt, but then you are getting an extension on your belt, then I bet you it will be tough, but they will come with you. But if it's not, then what do you think is going to happen? Listeners, this is all coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, President Vladimir Zelensky has had a brief but intense-looking conversation with a man threatening to block Ukraine's EU aspirations. He met Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orban at the inauguration of the Argentina's new president on Sunday. Now, Mr. Orban has vocally opposed progressing Kyiv's application to join the EU. There are now fears of a diplomatic debacle later this week. Only professional lip readers might understand what was said between President Zelensky and a man widely seen as EU bad boy. But the exchange comes ahead of what could be a crucial week for Ukraine's war effort. Now, President Zelensky will head to Washington, D.C. on Tuesday as he seeks to rescue a $60 billion U.S. defense aid package. Now, U.S. President Joe Biden is urging lawmakers to approve the funds, but the aid has become embroiled in domestic partisan politics. They say, well, reduce immigration and then, or tell us something about that and then we will give you the money. But what do you think? Well, one other story, then we come to the UK front. Now, Hamas has threatened that not a single hostage will be allowed to leave Gaza alive unless its demands for a prisoner exchange are met. But Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says dozens of Hamas militants have surrendered, and he described the situation as the beginning of the end for the group. Israel has ordered civilians to flee the center of Khan Yunis, with an official saying he doesn't want civilians caught up in the difficult fighting there. Now, key mediator Qatar says the chance of a new ceasefire between Israel and Hamas are narrowing, but has vowed to keep up the pressure on both sides. Hamas attacked Israel 9 weeks ago, killing 1,200 people and taking 240 hostages, some of whom were released during a short-lived truce. The Hamas-run health ministry in Gaza has said Israel has killed about 18,000 people in its retaliatory campaign. This is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, one other story here in the UK. Hamza Yusuf has branded David Cameron petty and misguided over a threat to withdraw UK support for Scottish ministers during overseas visits. The First Minister responded to claims from the Foreign Secretary that he breached protocols by meeting Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan without a UK official present. The SNP leader dismissed the criticism from an unelected Lord. Lord Cameron has also threatened to close Scottish offices in UK embassies. The former Prime Minister, who returned to the cabinet as Foreign Secretary last month, said in a letter to the Scottish Government that ministers had failed to provide sufficient advance notice of the meeting with Mr. Erdogan at COP28 in the United Arab Emirates. Now, foreign affairs are reserved to UK's government, but devolved administration are allowed to engage internationally on devolved competencies. Now, Mr. Yusuf said the meeting had been rearranged at short notice by the Turkish president's team, but that he would have no problem with a UK government official, including Lord Cameron himself, attending. He said the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office of official chose not to stay with the Scottish delegation the whole day, and because of that, they ended up missing the meeting, but that a UK representative had been at the vast majority of discussions he held during the climate summit. I hope that this will not bring another stirring up of the quest by the Scottish to leave. You remember, he was at the helm of affairs when the Scottish referendum was held as well. Was he? Wasn't he? I think so, he was. Okay, now Tory MPs to discuss vote on Rwanda asylum seeker policy. It's one of the stories making the round this morning. Conservative MPs are gathering to debate the Prime Minister's Rishi Sunak's update plan to send some asylum seekers to Rwanda. The scheme is designed to send people who arrive in the UK in small boats to the East African nation to have their asylum claim considered. Now, some Tory factions are critical of the updated plans, with MPs on the right saying it risks being blocked by the courts again, while others say it ignores international law. Both sides are due to meet later, with some groups expected to say how they will vote on the plan in Parliament tomorrow. Now, changes are needed after the UK's highest court approved a block on the scheme in November, citing the risk asylum seekers could end being sent back to places where they could be harmed. The government has signed a new deal with the East African nation, which declared Rwanda a safe country, and it says it will smooth over these concerns. Now, the question there that I've been asking myself is, how many can they take? Or the fact that they'll be taking you, if you come across by the small boats to the UK, you'll be taken to Rwanda, means that that's going to stop people from crossing. And therefore, if they take maybe call it 100,000, that will be enough. I don't know. I'm just using figures there. But tell me more about that. It's all Starr Radio UK. Well, this another UK branch of a Christian church has been secretly filmed trying to cast out evil spirit from a 16-year-old. The Universal Church of the Kingdom of God pastor was seen reciting what looked like so-called strong prayers to rid the boy of a demon. Well, the UCKG says under 18s are not allowed into strong prayers service, and it does not perform conversion therapy. So you get what I'm coming from, or where I'm coming from. Well, it's all coming away from Starr Radio UK. Now, finally, Rishi Sunak, the Prime Minister, has defended Boris Johnson's decision making during making during the COVID pandemic in March 2020. Sunak was chancellor at the time, says Johnson followed their scientific advice and was right to encourage debate. Now, previous witnesses at the COVID inquiry have criticized Johnson's process and some of his language, but Sunak says it was right that there was rigorous debate because these were incredible consequential decisions. Asked about reported dysfunction in number 10 in 2020, he says interactions with Johnson and team felt fine to me. Now, Sunak began by saying he was deeply sorry to those who lost loved ones and to all those who suffered who can watch the hearing. But you know what? If you are listening to us, I promise you I'm going to bring you everything that you need to know. I don't know whether he is going to be appearing tomorrow there as well. But as it says now, this is where I bring the program to a close for today. And let me say thank you very much to each and every one of you. God willing, next week we'll have HRH in Nepalian appearing before the Christmas break. Okay, so I want to say thank you to every one of you on the various platforms listening to us. It's been a pleasure coming your way. To my able producer, Mr. Francis Gayi, and my colleague and representative, Mr. Olayomi Koiki, and to you listening to me and watching me. I say have a top of the day. But for now, let me bring you a tune. And this time around is from where, or as my Nigerians will say, where? Okay. Okay. Just bear with me whilst I line it up. Enjoy this. And it says African Christmas Praise Medley. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye for now. I am Archie.
Come on, you faithful. Come on, you faithful. Come on, you faithful. Everybody, lift your voices. Come on, you faithful. Come on, you faithful. Come on, you faithful to let me hear. Come on, you faithful.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Thanks for listening.
I know you know this one like this. Oh, come, all ye faith. Lift it up, say, joy, joy. Oh, come, sing bread. You say, come and behold it. Come and behold from the King. Oh, come, someone is shouting. Sing it like you mean it. Come on, you faithful. Come on, you faithful. Sing along. Oh, come on, you faithful. Yeah. One more time. Say, come on, you faithful. 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 Take me up. Come on, you faithful. Come on, you faithful. Somebody shout. You know the song. Variety. You say. Variety. You say.